So now that we're into fall, we're starting to move these cattle around onto some more crop aftermath. We just finished grazing some canola stubble, which you'll see the cattle getting moved off of in this video. And we're moving them about 5 miles down the road, actually trailing this time, down to some cover crops, some full season cover crop that hasn't been grazed yet. So in the following video, I'm going to walk you guys through what we're doing here for crop aftermath and cover crop. So this is a Razer Grazer. Our neighbor actually bought this for grazing some of his cover crop. Pretty cool little outfit. It's got 2.5 miles worth of wire spooled up on here. You're going to see it's nice big gauge wire, a pound in, pound out ground rod. So that ground rod's really easy to move around. You just pound it in the ground like they're doing there, and then it'll pound back out the same way, just popping up. Looking at this Razer Grazer, you'll see all we did was take this heavy gauge wire, which is pretty awesome. Electric fence wire. We tied it direct onto some wood posts that we set in the corners. We can do 160 acres at a time with this setup. So as we come around and check out the other side of this, this is actually the spooler part of this. So when we're all done, at the end we can roll this fence up all with an electric spooler. It's got its own self-contained battery and solar fencer, and that same battery runs the spooling device. So you just push a button, it runs the spool, and then you can run it back and forth onto the spool just by pushing that handle back and forth. You can unlock the spooler and spool it out, just like we're showing you there. And then you'll see in the corners here where we just wrapped the wire around that fence post and continued on with the portable posts on down the line. So really simple setup, no insulators involved, just portable posts and a few pound in wood posts that we'll take back out at the end. This is 160 acres of all warm season grass cover crop mixed with some sunflowers, turnips, radishes, and collards. And then there's also safflower in there, which is that prickly stuff. The cattle won't eat the safflower, but it will leave some standing stuff to catch snow, was the idea behind that. Like I said, this is our neighbor's cover crop. This is us this weekend moving these cattle off of grass. So you'll see them moving them off of this grass and crop aftermath we had showed you in the previous videos. We're going to move them kitty corner down the road about 5 miles. We kind of like moving cattle if we can, just because there's a lot less risk as far as loading them up in the trailer and possibly injuring an animal. So, and also kind of fun, right? If we have time, social situation. And in this instance, we were able to get all the crops off between this and where we're moving the cattle to. We were able to move them kitty corner 5 miles across country, and it only took about 3 hours. So, and it was actually a pretty good social event. You can see we can kind of get some friends and horses together. These are the cattle after we moved them onto this cover crop. They're in here mostly grazing the millet out of here first, it appears. They really like that. And then they'll get onto those collards and the turnips and radishes. You can also see in here, these are mostly Aberdeens. Anything with the pinky purple ear tags are all Aberdeen cattle. The ones with the yellow ear tags are the old full-size Angus cattle that we had. So it's a good way to compare kind of the size of these cattle. What we've replaced the full-size cattle with these Aberdeen Angus cross. They really seem to have stayed fat through the summer on all varieties of grass that we've had them on here. And we'll see some videos here at the end that'll kind of compare the size of the calves to the cows too. And I think you'll see we're getting a lot of beef compared to the frame size of the cows in the end here. So you'll look, there's sunflowers in this mix too. They don't really seem to eat the sunflowers very well. They never have in this cover crop mix, but that is a really good deep-rooted, tap-rooted crop to throw in our rotation that we don't normally get. You're looking at some calves side by side next to those Aberdeen Angus cows. You can see the size of these calves. These are April calved calves right here next to the 1,100-pound cows, and there's just a lot of calf for the frame size of the cow. So the other thing we're supposed to cover here actually is kind of how we pay people for this lease ground. There's a variety of different things, right? There's native grass with water on it. That could be anywhere around $30 per animal unit per month on down, as long as there's water and if we have to take care of the fence, then we knock a little off for that. This cover crop that we're grazing, we actually went out and did all the work to put the fence up, and we're hauling water to that. So that's going to be more like $20 per animal unit per month. Animal unit, a 1,200-pound cow-calf pair. These cows are a little bit smaller, so we're probably looking at 0.9 animal units per pair on this deal. Anyway, so that's the other advantage of smaller frame cows. Are going to eat less, so we can run more animals and pay less per animal unit, if that makes sense. We've got different arrangements where we just pay a flat $1,000 a month for some pasture. We've got a little 160-acre piece of grass that's right in the middle of our farm ground. No matter how long we graze that, we just give that guy $1,000 a month, and that's good crested wheat that we can use early in the year, so it has a fair amount of value to us for early grazing. So there's a whole variation of different fits, I guess, as far as what we pay for grass. There's a bunch of unused land on Dad's farm ground that we had taken over initially. That ground, we put all the money into the fencing on, and we just give him a beef every year for using it. And we've got probably 400 acres of grass to use there. So, and that's actually a lot of bottoms and sub-irrigated type stuff that's improving a lot with the intensive grazing. So there's a menagerie of different setups, obviously, that we can use here for lease payments and as far as what's fair between each party. Biggest thing is having water available. When we have to start hauling water, that takes a lot away from what we're willing to pay for the grass. With this Razer Grazer, if we end up buying one of those setups, like I just showed you in this video, the possibilities are limitless, especially if there's water close as far as what we could graze. So that's pretty exciting.